Hey Nerf Herders, I'm Addy Thomas.
And I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Certain Point of View News and Reviews. We have got some news stories today from everything from some filming news from Wonder Woman 2's, DC's new streaming service, Arrested Development, and Netflix, and more. And then we've also got a roundup of TV episodes. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you, though, you can go to our website, certainpov.com, to check out our website, which has all of our podcasts and shows, everything from Fun and Games with Matt and Jeff, A Certain Point of View, and Another Pass with Case Aiken, and the Scruffy Nerf Herders, our D20 series, but also Ben's Fun on Twitch, and probably some new content coming up soon as well. So we're slowly but surely expanding our empire. You can check that out at our website, certainpov.com. This past weekend was Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, we went straight from May the 4th right into Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
Did you go?
Yeah, I did. I went to Big Planet Comics over in College Park, Maryland.
Oh, nice. So, I went to Alliance in downtown Silver Spring.
Nice.
Took the kids. This was and I've been wanting to do this for years now. Take Aiden to go to a Free Comic Book Day and get him into comics. And he's so proficient in reading, but he hasn't really shown any interest in comic books until lately. Like, he's been reading like Garfield trade paperbacks,
right? And
he's been into like Dog Boy, and stuff like that. So so I was like, all right, well, we're gonna do it this year. And I said to him, I was like, hey buddy, like, you want to go, like, Free Comic Book Day is tomorrow, like, you want to go and we'll get some comic books, we'll go to the comic book store. And he was like, yeah. He was totally into it. He was all excited. So we marched everybody downtown Silver Spring, which it was great, man. Alliance just put on a really nice event. They had a table outside, and you got like a box of like 5 comic books. I got like Kick-Ass, like a lot of like number ones of stuff I probably wouldn't have picked up, but like Millar's rebooted his world, and so there's a new Kick-Ass, and so I got that issue number 1 that I've read, and some other stuff. It was a really good, and like a Spider-Man trade paperback and stuff, like a really cool mix of comic books that they actually sell on like a monthly basis for like $25. You get a box of like 5 comic books and 2 trades, which is a sweet deal. So anyway, so we stand in line and we get that. Then we go inside and they have even more free comic books to give up against the wall by the thing. And you just stood in line. And so Aiden, like, he gets like really overwhelmed by the crowds and stuff like that. So he had a comic book and he was kind of like off with Jenny over in the corner. So he didn't have to stand in line with us. And so he could just sit there and kind of be out of everybody's way, and he be out of, everybody be out of his way. And then when we got to the front of the line, Jenny would bring him up. Well, Melanie stood in line with me, and she's reading, she grabbed a Sheena issue. She's just reading Sheena. She's like, this is awesome. Like, girls are kicking ass. Like, she was all about it, right? So we get to the front of the line, and the very nice person there. And Aiden comes up, next to us, and she's like, oh, you get free comic books, like, what do you want? And there's all these different comic books, and they both kids automatically got like a Pokemon comic book, which is totally cool, right? And I point over to Melanie, I said, look, there's a Disney Princess comic book, right? And Melanie's like, okay. And I said, Aiden, there's a Disney Princess book, and there's the Star Wars one, and Aiden was like, I'm not interested in the Disney Princess book one. Now, I know she meant well. I know the lady meant well. But she gets down on her hands and knees and looks Aiden in the eyes, and she's like, son, it's okay to like other things that aren't like you.
Okay.
I know she meant well.
Yeah.
But I was like, what are you talking? Like, what are you doing right now? This kid is 8. You don't know anything at all about this kid. Well, I take it back. He's 9. He's about to turn 10. But he's super immature. Yeah. He's got like this horrible abuse background, and there's all these delays and all this. And you're worried about whether or not his gender preferences are politically correct at this point in time at his very first Free Comic Book Day. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, thank you. Like, Aiden, you want the Star Wars one? Like, I just let it go. Like, I just tried to go past it. But it irritated me because I was like, what are you doing? Like,
did Jenny catch it?
Oh yeah. It didn't bother her nearly as much as it bothered me. Yeah. Because she was more worried about Aiden just like squawking and like ripping something. Just having a complete meltdown. Yeah. Or Melanie doing the same thing. So, but like afterwards, I was like, Jenny, like, did you see that? And she was like, oh yeah, I saw that. She was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, that's what happens when, like, again, like we talked about this last week about the whole tribalism aspect, and you only see things through that lens. Like, that lady was only able to see my family as, like, privileged white people,
right?
Fat white guys, probably conservative and not really, like, up to speed on, like, gender details and all this other stuff, and didn't take into consideration, like, the differences. Like, my kids are Hispanic. Like, she probably never even considered that my kids are Hispanic. Like, why wasn't she like, oh, maybe you'd like the Miles Morales book?
Right.
She was more worried, and it's like, okay, like, I understand, like, that's your reality. Yeah. That's the thing that you identify with, but that don't put that on other people too.
When it comes to how parents raise their kids, that's, like, to me, that's one of those places, and I know it's tough because that can change a lot for people, but I really do get annoyed when people try to alter the way other parents try to raise their kids.
Right, yeah. Like, what if I had been, like, a really conservative guy? And I'm not. Like, we have tons of gay friends. Like, we love gay people and women. Like, our family's pretty liberal, all things considered. Like, socially, we're very liberal.
Yeah.
But, like, if that had been, like, a real conservative person, like, that would have been so, like, way more offensive than it was to me, who isn't particularly conservative in that regard.
Right.
So it was just, like, it made me have empathy for that woman, because I was like, oh, your worldview is still so small and so stymied by this one type of interaction that you feel you need to have, or whatever her story is.
To you,
whatever her story is, like, that has limited her.
Yeah.
Into just seeing the world through that one lens, and she hasn't been able to get outside of that and see that, oh, you know what, there's other things probably that could be going on here. Let me just see, play it by ear and not push my agenda so hard.
Right.
So it was interesting. I wasn't like, oh, I'd never go back to that place, or screw that lady.
Of course, yeah.
I was just like, really? Like, what do you do? Like, this is not the time. Like, there's 30 people behind me, like, giving a gender lecture.
Right.
This isn't really the time. You know? It was strange. It was really strange. And, I mean, it went right over my kid's head. Like, they could have given a shit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you probably want to save that speech for when they actually care.
Right.
Now is not that time.
Now they don't have any sort of frame of reference to even, make that. Yeah.
No, now he's just like, some purple-haired lady wants me to read, like, Disney comic books. That's all he knows.
Right.
And he's just like, I'm not into that. Like, so
that's funny.
Yeah. Other than that, man, it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I was really glad we got to do it. We got a ton of comic books. I haven't been able to get Aiden's eyes out of a comic book since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super happy about it. And like I said, Melanie was really into Sheena, so I think we're going to have to, like, she can't read yet, really. So once she can, like, we'll get some more basic stuff, like, for her to look at and play with. So
yeah,
it was really a good day. It was really a good day.
That's cool. So let's get into the news for today. So we're going to kick it off with Wonder Woman 2. It's going to be filming at the shuttered, actually at an area location local to the D.C. area, the Landmark Mall in Alexandria, Virginia, this June and July. Sources tell the Washington Business Journal that the film will be set in the 1980s, and nothing says 80s like an old mall.
Like Landmark Mall. I was like, oh, did they need an abandoned building?
Right.
Is that why
this is not like the fighting Batman versus Superman. We are going to like move on from like otherwise there are going to be a lot of other malls too that are options. So the owner of the mall, Howard Hughes Corporation, shuttered Landmark Mall in early 2017 after acquiring the Macy's store, portion of which is being built out as a temporary homeless shelter. And planning's going on to turn the Landmark into an open-air center.
What a great idea. What a great idea, though, like, to use that land for something useful.
Right.
Like, all those years. I mean, like, there's how many malls are there that are, just falling apart and like, you can't keep stores in it because the overhead's too high. What a great idea to put homeless shelters in there. Like, it's this huge area.
Yeah, it's a good starting place.
Idea. Yeah.
So
we should do more of that.
Right.
I have a couple malls I'd suggest.
Oh, I know. Well, Warner Brothers has officially announced the name of its new DC streaming service. It's called DC Universe. It's the first of its kind, an immersive digital experience designed just for DC fans. One of the many things a membership will include is unlimited access to the following exclusive original series. There's going to be a Swamp Thing series.
Oh.
I have no idea if it's animated or live action. I haven't seen that. There's going to be the live action Titans series, Titans show, which I don't know if it's also going to air on TNT. Well, it's exclusive, but I think originally this was going to air on TNT.
So they're pulling it off of TNT and just putting it on the streaming service?
That's what I'm assuming.
Interesting.
I don't know that for certain.
That's kind of a bummer.
Right. Well, I mean, I can see that they're wanting to run their own
I get that, but eventually, like we come to a point where there's so many. I want to run my own streaming services
that it's going to be an overload. So
yeah.
There's also going to be the new Young Justice Outsiders cartoon, and then an R-rated Harley Quinn animated series. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm excited for some of the shows on this service, but here's the thing. The way they're talking about this new DC streaming service is they're talking about it they're imaging it as a DC membership. So what I'm interested to see is what else
comes with that membership.
Like, my hope is that there's something similar to Marvel Unlimited, maybe something a little bit more limited, where I know. But well, let's say you could subscribe to, like, I want to pick like 5 different series to subscribe to, and you could switch it as needed, and you just own those issues rather than like sort of a Netflix for all all Marvel comics.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, so I could pick like the Tom King run of Batman. And, all the Lantern series and, I don't know, whatever else is.
And then anything else you want is extra.
Right. You add on.
That's a good business model.
Yeah, because DC has talked about doing, like, they have something in the works similar to Unlimited. Marvel Unlimited. Yeah, and, something like Comixology Unlimited. So this, like, what makes me excited is what other perks there are.
Yeah, because so far I'm not blown away where I'm like, I'm willing to spend. How much is it? Do we even know?
No, they haven't even said yet. Right now, there's just a page to subscribe by email for updates. I mean, the R-rated Harley Quinn series, I am definitely not interested in at all. Like, I watched the what was it, the movie, the animated Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah,
the one where she and I think like Nightwing team up or something like that. And it was awful.
It was so good you don't even know who she was with.
Yeah, exactly. I know they were fighting Poison Ivy. At one point,
yeah.
Well, it was the main thrust of the story, but it just was not good. They've that character has
DC's fallen off its animated stuff recently.
Oh my god, so badly.
It's like a cliff. They just jumped off of it.
Well, it was. I'd like to say it's just Bruce Timm, but Bruce Timm did that Harley Quinn series. I think Bruce Timm, without some of the other talent that he's paired with, is not that good either. Which is like they've like you said they've really fallen
off.
Have they fallen off, or are they just like trying to find a new way to tell stories? Like
it's not a new way. I wish I could say it's a new way. It's just there's like a lot of heart just missing from those stories. It has the Transformers issue of like we're doing cool things without any real substance behind it.
Right. It goes back to remember that I think we had a discussion about this where the difference between Marvel Studios and DC's cinematic universe was that Marvel had to create a whole universe off of their B team.
Right.
And DC was just like, and here is our big 12-inch cock.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at it. It's spectacular.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, the thing is, like, every movie that you put out, like, every Batman and Superman that you put out, like, it's guaranteed to make a certain degree of money.
Right, people are going to watch it. Yeah.
I mean, even Justice League made some degree of money. It was not good, absolutely. Like, its box office results weren't particularly good.
But it made money.
Yeah, it still did,
It didn't lose money.
Yeah, and, like, they've had to, like... The thing is, DC has had to go to, like, really extreme depths to realize, like, oh, we gotta, like...
Build a
we gotta turn around this shit.
We can't just throw shit against the wall.
Well, it took Batman and Robin for them to, like, okay, like, we really gotta treat Batman a little bit better, And, like, it's taken Justice League for them to really kind of, like, figure out, all right, like...
Has it?
Cyborg.
Well, I mean... From every indication is that there's a lot that's kind of on hold and that they're kind of unwilling to really commit to certain things other than what's already been in progress, and that includes Shazam, Aquaman, which
Wonder
is
Woman.
and one, obviously Wonder Woman performed well, so they're running with that at this point. But scaling it back to some of this TV stuff, they've done well.
Yeah, that's what surprises me is they've always been so strong there.
Yeah,
that's always been their
wheelhouse.
Because
the CW has been fairly, even I'm not crazy about Arrow and some of these shows at this point.
More than watchable,
right?
It's like if that was the only comic book show on TV.
Oh yeah,
you and I would be like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah, now that we have an embarrassment of riches, it's kind of like now we get to be picky. Like when you have Legion, now Arrow starts to fail in comparison.
Leave it to Marvel to one up them though,
right? Well, Arrested Development's original 4th season is still streaming on Netflix, but it takes a little bit of detective work to find it. So Netflix debuted Arrested Development's newly remixed 4th season last week, and it was just a re-edited version. So it's the remixed version. It takes that original 15 episodes, which were each single character focused episodes, and they turn them into 22 chronological episodes, each with a majority of the cast. So now, though, if you go to it, subscribers will see, season 1, 2, 3, and then the remix season. You have to go to the trailers and more section to find the original
version that nobody liked.
Yeah, which I thought was fine.
It was okay.
Yeah, because I went in knowing
it lacked that magic, though.
Yeah, it lacked a lot of the energy. Mm-hmm. But I went in knowing they were never able. There was only one scene where they were able to get the whole cast together.
Yeah.
So that's the limitations. So you don't have them playing off each other as much as you'd like them to. But I'm very interested to watch the remixed 4th season because we got an announcement that season 5 is finally happening.
There's still money in the banana stand.
Oh, it's not only happening, but it's out at the end of this month on the 29th.
I know. I didn't even know they were filming.
Yeah, I don't know how they were able to hide that. I know, Mitch Hurwitz, I kept on seeing interviews of it, every couple of months I would look, and I'd see Mitch Hurwitz had said, oh, we're still working on it, it's got a lot of things, I've got stuff in hand, but he's been keeping that one, really close. That's
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I like that studios now are able to hide projects from us. So that you don't get all of the spoilers and all the news about strife about what's happening on the set until it's already done.
Right.
And whether or not people like that movie will determine whether or not we hear those stories.
Well, it's funny because even with Infinity War, and we won't say any spoilers, but we have we have one leaked photo from the set of Avengers 4, and all our theories are revolving,
all spawning around that one picture. Who knows where it falls into play on this thing? Yeah,
right.
Yeah. That is the fun of our culture of we've got to figure this out. So studios are getting better at hiding that, which is good.
Yeah,
which is good because I hate going into a movie knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, so today I was also watching an interview with I think his name's Louis Tan, who is Shatterstar in Deadpool 2.
Okay.
He was talking about the experience of how they had these big robes to cover, they had a fake set and then the real set, and they would walk them they'd have them covered in robes because nobody knew about X-Force.
Right. That
was they thought
they thought maybe they would introduce the idea at the end of this movie. Right.
But it was him, Terry Crews, and all these other 6'6" tall big guys in these big cult, it looked like this cult gathering where they were walking the set. So I'm getting super excited about that, and it's impressive that they've been more of these companies.
Yeah, I mean I was shocked to find out that Cable was the bad guy in the trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't think about the bad guy. We knew he was going to be in.
I knew he was in it. Oh, absolutely knew he was in it. That wasn't a surprise at all. But him as the bad guy that they're fighting, I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. That's impressive.
Right?
To be able to keep the script that tight and keep all the details about what's going on, pretty amazing. Nobody happened to get any pictures of him and Ryan Reynolds fighting,
right?
On set or anything. So it's good, man. It's good. I'm glad that the studios are figuring this stuff out and getting smart about it and keeping it interesting for us.
Well, Netflix is making sci-fi and fantasy its main focus from this point forward. According to Ampere analysis via Business Insider, Sci-fi and fantasy has become the most popular genre of Netflix original programming in the first quarter of 2018, and Netflix is ramping up production to meet an anticipated increase in demand. The report went on to say that the genre will comprise 29% of Netflix's upcoming original content, which is unsurprising.
Jeez.
Well, when you give the success of Stranger Things, Altered Carbon, Black Mirror, and some of these others.
Altered Carbon was really good.
I haven't
Black
watched
Mirror's
it yet.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
great. Plus,
I just picked up Black Mirror
all the
again.
Marvel stuff that's on there, I guess, fits
Right,
into that.
that's also there.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess it is a lot more science fiction-y than I thought it was.
Well, the previous top category was comedy,
yeah.
and but then that's dropped to second place.
Amy Schumer ruined that.
Third place is action and adventure. So I imagine fourth place is Adam Sandler. So
Oh, Adam.
well, if there's going to be a Deadpool 3, Ryan Reynolds would prefer a smaller movie. So here's what Reynolds had to say in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. I don't know that there would be a Deadpool 3. You know, a lot of this is because who knows what's happening with Disney and Fox and Marvel and all that. So I really don't feel like the character, in order for him to function properly with his own universe, you need to take everything away from him. I don't think you can keep doing that. I do see him as being part of X-Force, obviously, and I would love to see him in a team-up sort of thing, like a mano or a great female character from the X-Men universe. I just think if you're going to do another Deadpool solo film, you've got to really get that budget down to nothing and just swing for the fences, break all kinds of weird barriers, and do stuff that no one else can do. You know, why do they all have to be big comic book movies? It could be anything. Deadpool could be a Sundance film. So
He's not wrong.
yeah.
He's not wrong.
It's part of the appeal of the first Deadpool movie, honestly, is
Right.
the fact that it's such a simple story. It's, you know, it has a couple action sequences, but they're nothing.
Over the top and
Yeah.
crazy.
You know, he's not destroying the big blue beam in the sky that's turning everything into monsters or invading aliens or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's a much more scaled down scope. Yeah. Even though they do have some really big action set pieces.
Yeah. They have like two
yeah,
big ones.
but they're really big.
Yeah.
They are really big. Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that we need to do that with more superheroes. And I'm hoping that Marvel is able to do that with the MCU going forward after Infinity War, is kind of scale things back down to personal stories, because right now shit is crazy big.
Of course, we're not doing any Infinity War spoilers because Thanos demands our silence.
Still, that guy, man.
As you take a drink.
You know,
We can't even name the people that we miss right now.
drinking to him though.
Yeah.
Drinking to him.
We'll do that. Our Infinity War review should come out really, really soon. It should come out this week, actually. So,
Good.
We'll finally get that out. Speaking of Infinity War, so last week, a pastor named Michael Weber was detained for this story. I love this story. So a pastor named Michael Weber was detained for several hours by police. He had his home searched after he stood up for the final scene of Infinity War, and he began preaching to the darkened full theater. Evidently, he was asking people what would happen if they died that night. And that freaked out some people.
Christ, that freaks me out just hearing you say that.
Well, one moviegoer told the LACBS station people behind them started running and pushing in an effort to exit quickly. The people in the theater couldn't see that he had his hands up, showing he did not have a weapon. And he was later reportedly charged with a misdemeanor. So here's the thing. So, you know, like he said, he had his hands up to indicate he didn't have a weapon. So this is what, like, he acknowledged that, you know, it's understandable that with all the reports of different things happening today with different, you know, shooters and theaters, you know, incidents and all of that, it was an understandable response. He said, though, after the movie ended, he said, as the end credits started, I stood up from my seat and began to preach.
What the fuck?
The most unusual part about this particular night is that every other time I've stood to preach in theaters, the lights would come up as the credits began. But this night they did not. So, he's not particularly familiar with Marvel movies, clearly, because you would know that in a Marvel movie...
You gotta wait
right.
until they get that final scene.
Because the lights wouldn't be up.
This moron.
He said that he had, his hands were up to show that he was unarmed, but no one could see him. He explained there was an
So he looks like he's just about to blow up a bomb or something.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and if you're going to die tonight. He explained
Lord.
there was an occasional shout back at me to tell me to sit down.
Yeah.
But nothing that would indicate the audience was alarmed. He
What
also
about the people running out?
right. He also read what he says is his evangelism script to show he was non-threatening. Evidently, the police didn't think so. He said that he's learned some lessons. Moving forward, I will certainly wait until it can clearly be seen by the crowd I'm addressing, and that people can see that he's not a threat. I just imagine, like, I really wish this guy was using, and this isn't spoiler territory for Infinity War, but I really kind of hope he has his hands clasped.
Like
and
Ebony Maw?
Like Ebony Maw uses his voice. Rejoice, sons and daughters of Thanos.
What if you were to die tonight?
Oh my god!
I would be so.
I'd be
I'd
out.
Be so
Okay,
outraged.
You would see me move fast. Like, you wouldn't even see me move. Like,
Is
I'd
there
be
any-
faster
yeah.
than Ezra Miller's Flash. Like, not Barry Allen in the
God forbid.
CW series.
Or God forbid, Marvel's Quicksilver.
Yeah. Oh, definitely faster than Quicksilver. I'd be like, nope,
Gotta go. Not coming back.
not today.
That is such a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Such a dumb idea. Who told this guy, hey, here's a great idea for how to spread the word of God?
Yeah.
Don't interrupt people's experiences at movies. Like,
Yeah.
I know, the whole movie in a theater or
it's funny
church
'cause,
in a theater thing is a big deal.
The three of us here are familiar with, Christian ministry.
Yeah,
To
we've all been part of it.
higher levels than the average person.
Yes.
And we know that there's been some fairly dumb decisions along the way. We've seen some stupid things happen, but this one I think is clearly the dumbest.
This is.
I mean, I think weren't we at an event where someone was supposed to play an inspirational video and they played something about someone who was regretting an abortion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That was a bad event. That was a bad event.
Yeah. This is worse.
This is so much worse than, I regret having an abortion.
That's just a matter of I can't find something to play. Let me just go here.
Yeah, let me just click on the next thing. Yeah, because this guy clearly does this often. Like, how does I can't believe the theater lets him get away with it.
Well, I can't imagine. I want to know, from a ministry perspective, how many people find Jesus through this?
None.
Yeah.
None.
Unless it's what's that movie that just came out where the monsters are snatching people when it's quiet outside?
The Quiet Place?
Quiet
Yeah.
Place.
You find Jesus after a horror movie, you're like, you know what? I need to be ready, guys.
I mean, you might have a guy scream out an orgasm getting a blowjob in the back row. You might get that.
Maybe that's what inspired him.
Oh, God. Yes, this believer in the back row. Hallelujah.
I hear you, buddy.
That's the only.
Passing back the plate to you.
Yeah, what does this guy get out of? Why do people do this? I don't understand this.
There are a lot of ill-conceived. Some are effective, some aren't.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
So this happened to me. This reminds me of a story. Jenny and I were at a gas station near our home, filling up with gas, and this lady walks over to us, and she's like, "Oh, do you have a real quick second? I have to tell you." And she goes on this 3-minute tirade. She has it. She's like, "I will be done in 3 minutes." She's got it timed, and she's just starts talking about how there's these. She's like, and look it up on YouTube. There's sounds over Canada.
I saw that person.
Yes,
Yes.
Filipino girl.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm trying to remember where I saw that, but yeah.
She just wanders around, and then she's like, and then you need to look up Luke 16, da 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 da, and you're like, and she's just machine gunning, crazy at you, right? But you can tell she really cares. Her heart's in the right place. She's got a real I just wanted to say to her, sweetheart, you have such a great heart. But such a broken mind. You were the dumbest fucking thing I've seen all day. But your heart is so good. I want to love you. So I'm not going to be... I was just all right, thanks. kept pumping gas.
Right. I had the same reaction. I'm trying to remember where I was when I saw this person.
Jenny says she's been accosted by her a couple times up by Korean Corner. and stuff like that. So
no,
she's just
I wasn't there. You know what I think I was? I think I was at the Shoppers in Wheaton.
That
Like
makes
north of
sense.
Wheaton.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be her stomping grounds.
Yeah, because I remember I was
like
just
she
like,
just goes back and forth.
What?
Yeah, she just kind of like trolls back and forth along
like,
Randolph. Yeah.
Like, I didn't catch any of those Bible verses. Do you at least have a card? Like,
oh, she does if you ask.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't ask. I just said, okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jenny's seen her like somebody actually engages with her, and then
Yeah.
And
I just knew that
all
was
sorts of shit in her bag.
I just knew I don't need to engage in more crazy because I don't know where this is gonna end.
Right.
And I'm just like, and you already provided an out, so I didn't have to provide my own out.
Yeah.
So let's just.
No, she's like really sweet about
Right.
it, really gentle about it, really courteous about it, and she kept to her 3 minutes, which I was super thankful for.
Right. There are lots of DJs who don't do that.
Forget DJs, pastors.
Oh,
Shut up, pastors.
No pastor keeps to their
No,
time.
they never,
ever.
They're like, oh, this is gonna be a short sermon.
Or teachers who say like, oh, I'm going to take 5 minutes, and then of course it's 30 minutes.
Yeah,
You know?
they have no
Lectures,
sense of their
Altar
own.
calls.
Yeah, what's happening? Just shut up already. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
I don't need your show. You know, that's
And
not what I'm here
business
for.
meetings too. It happens all the time. I can't say, oh, I've got 5 minutes, and then 30 hours later.
And that's how I. Oh my god! And then I stubbed my toe. Let me tell you about my cat.
Right.
Like, oh my god, I don't care. So yeah, I guess maybe this guy's one of those types of people who's got like just a big heart and just a shitty mind.
Yep.
'Cause that's the best thing we could say for him.
Right. Let's move on into TV. So let's start off with the CW TV shows. Got back on track with a little bit of Supergirl. They've been introducing sort of like their evil, like these people who didn't know they were Kryptonians that are now like their powers are being brought out by this other god, this evil god from Krypton type of thing. One of his characters' name has been Rain. There's a Purity, and now there's Pestilence, and they have together formed the evil Powerpuff Girls, which is like it doesn't happen until like the end of the episode. But I was actually like, you know what? I'm actually kind of down for this right now.
Sugar, spice.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How many fucking Kryptonians are there on Earth?
They're all of them. Nobody actually died. I think actually Jor-El was the only one who died. Yeah.
Hey, wait, come on.
Well, why is everybody like leaving but me?
No, you were right, Jor-El. We listened. See ya.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the conceit of the destruction of Krypton is always a little bit weird when you consider how technologically advanced they're advanced enough to send this little, spaceship for a baby. Like you'd think, like at least the wealthy people should have a lot of, should have their own spaceships.
You would think so,
right? if the Kandor as a city. Was like, is that an actual city on Krypton or is it a colony?
Brainiac took it.
Brainiac did it to archive them, right? Yes, because he is the great library in the sky. Yes.
The universe's librarian.
Yeah. Well, and so one thing that is making it interesting right now is there is a Brainiac, but like one of the good Brainiacs right now. There's like variations of like Brainiac 73.
What Earth is this thing?
This is not the same Earth as the rest of the CW shows. Yeah. They are in another, another multiverse. Yeah. Let's just say Earth 32. I don't know, whatever.
They have specified which one it is. I forget what.
Have they for that one? Yeah. I know they specified a couple other ones, like especially like the Nazi one that they fought in the crossover.
Yeah.
But
that one keeps coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all right. Supergirl has its moments, but. Yeah, this one it's a little bit rough, but it eventually came through. So Arrow had a couple of developments. The episode I missed last week, I took another swing at it, and it actually worked a little bit better for me this time. You had pretty much everyone on Team Arrow reuniting except for Oliver. So Oliver's still on his own, but the whole team is kind of reassembled outside of him. But what it made me look at, so right now Diggle works for Argus. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of thinking, now as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is wrapping up, I actually would kind of like
Agents of Argus?
Yeah, if Argus sort of replaces Arrow to get a spy show within the DC universe. There's a second reason for it, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., pretty much from the beginning, has not it's a show that I love. There's been ups and downs with the show, but for the most part, I definitely really enjoy the show. But because of the nature of Hydra being, embedded in S.H.I.E.L.D. and being the cause for them doing bad things, essentially, they never got to really play with sort of the morality of, like, the gray things and the bad things that S.H.I.E.L.D. does.
They were always able to pass it off on, it's
Hydra
does the bad things.
It would be nice as if Argus can kind of, like, fill in that type of storyline. Because I think Amanda Waller I believe Amanda Waller's still alive.
Is she around anywhere doing anything?
She has been in Arrow, actually.
Yeah, she's been in Arrow a couple times.
Is she a big presence or a small presence?
Small presence.
But she's in the shadows, which is fine. Like, but if they can move it to that, like, frankly, I wouldn't mind Suicide Squad on the small screen as opposed to on the big screen. But, that's not going to happen because Margot Robbie and that Harley Quinn is so popular at this point. And one of the few things. Yeah. It's one of the few things they've...
Looks alone, my friend.
Yeah.
Looks alone.
That is, yeah, we do know why.
We totally know why. Because of testosterone.
Well, that was the episode from last week. This past week's episode was... So Oliver got captured, and now he's on trial to be convicted as the Green Arrow. They have everything so the entire town, the legal system's completely owned by the bad guy. And he's being convicted, and he's just about to be convicted, and Tommy Merlin suddenly pops up in the Green Arrow costume.
What?
Right? So, I saw just that clip, and that was enough reason for me to watch this episode. Because I was very close to just saying, you know what, I might be done with this show. I only have, 2 episodes left.
I'm not going to finish it out. That's disappointment right there.
It is. But surprisingly, the court episode was actually pretty interesting. I found myself not looking away, which is really surprising.
Wow.
Yeah, but again, it's not the best. So let's move on to Flash. I don't know if I can really tell you anything about what happened in this episode. Do you know?
I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot. No, I do know.
Thinker's wife left him.
The Thinker's wife left him, exactly. Yeah.
We got some
backstory on her.
Yeah, which I kind of, at this point, felt...
Didn't care.
Yeah.
And it didn't make a lot of sense.
It's not even like it was too late. It was just irrelevant.
It didn't make sense.
It didn't add anything to their relationship.
No.
Other than, She
knew that he was a monster, she was a monster too, though. She pretended not to be, but, her conceit at the end of, even as I was reading it, I knew you were right.
Yeah.
That just went... I
didn't get... Yeah.
I guess I'm hoping maybe it pays off next episode where we find out, she's going to be a villain too. She's not having a turn of heart, but she's actually, fighting him for control.
I guess.
And her own version of how the Enlightenment should go. The Enlightenment is such a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Of how it's being executed.
Make everyone dumb?
You make everybody dumb.
Instead of making everyone smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like... that's a spoiler.
Yeah.
It doesn't...
You were thinking about Infinity War, weren't you? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's the big elephant in the room. The big purple
elephant in the room. I generally just, it was a throwaway episode for me. It really
I felt the same way. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for the most part, felt like a throwaway episode, except for Talbot. I really enjoyed the Talbot stuff. Thought it was awesome that he had the comics accurate Gravitron costume. As soon as I saw it,
too.
Well, it was funny. As soon as I saw the last episode happened at the end of it when he comes out as Gravitron, I was like, oh my god, he looks almost exactly like Gravitron did in that animated series. And I was like, oh my god,
they did it! And it makes sense. It's not even for a silly reason. It made sense.
But dear god, this was such a long wait to this payoff.
Yeah, it has been. I'm enjoying that part. I'm enjoying Talbot.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying
am too.
his turn as Gravitron and being a bad guy.
And I love motivation.
Adrian Passadar is such a great actor.
Yeah, and I'm with you there too. I like him a lot too. So he compensates for some of the crappiness of the story. I am hoping we get so we saw the Death Flock serum come up.
Yeah.
The human DNA that was
Centipede.
Necessary. Yeah, for all of that. It makes me really miss that. Obviously he's gone now too, but why did I just miss out on his name? dude who played the villain who originally had the
centipede serum.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, it makes me really miss Bill Paxton in that role. I still look back and I wish that he had stuck around the series for a little longer, but obviously he's also gone now too. So
yeah, that's a tough loss.
Yeah,
because I would have liked to have him come back and be part of this wrap up.
Yeah, but it looks like we'll get, I guess, Deathlock versus Gravitron with Coulson.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it seems like it's leading to.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I kind of don't care
at
this point. I'm just wrap it up.
I'm surprised how over the rest of the series I am, or like the rest of the crew I am.
And I'm even I don't even care about Fitzsimmons at this point.
Which is weird because that was one of the best things in the show.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't, whatever. And Deke and
I definitely don't need any more
Daisy.
Deke. They need to kill him off so we can start wondering, like, have we actually changed anything in the future?
I will say this. The high five moment, Nazi high five moment. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Was pretty funny. Like,
it was unexpected.
Yeah, and it was really tastefully done. Like, I'm so used to like the heavy-handed punch Nazis in the face kind of angle.
Yeah.
That like particularly CW shows like to take.
Right.
This was a far more subtler and far funnier to me. Like, I really appreciated that. I thought that was hilarious.
Then let's move on to the two best shows that are on right now. We got Legion.
Yay! How dark was that episode?
Well, they very quickly reaffirmed that Amal Farouk, the Shadow King, is definitely still the villain.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about that. My question is this other looming presence that, that they supposedly they need Farouk to fight in the future. Is that a villain for season 3, or is that something we're gonna see this season? I guess.
I think season 3.
Yeah.
And it's still gonna be like, what do we do about Farouk?
Right.
Which is what I would title this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a theory.
Yeah.
Is that because we're getting the time travel version of what's her name? Sid.
Yeah.
What if Sid is infected with Farouk and he's sending her saying, hey, don't kill Farouk?
That's my other thought too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally that is actually my first inclination.
Yeah.
It's
a little too obvious.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that I'm wrong about that.
Right.
Because it is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But it would
by Legion standards.
Yeah, by Legion standards, like that's pretty A to D. Like that makes sense. Like, I don't expect that out of Legion. I expect some Q's and R's in there.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Sid infected at this point. We've seen other people.
Or have her even close
told me,
to it. Yeah.
We've seen infected. My thought is, what's Baskethead's name?
Oh, General Macchiato or something
like that. Yeah. He's who I think he's ultimately the villain for the 3rd season, maybe that future threat.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just that this episode had that like weird vision that Tommy had where he sees, that weird like the black sees into the basket itself. And sort of sees the embodiment of the virus / chicken in black thing. Instead of the man in Lost took away the man in black at this point. We now have the chicken in black. Yeah, so
that's been my question about this season 2 is we see like that little slimy thing crawling in and out of people's ears.
Yep.
Is that Farouk? Is that the other thing?
I think it's the other thing. I'm going to go with that right now.
Yeah.
Because it feels like this virus
idea
is... I think it may be something that is sort of not necessarily intentionally created by Farouk, but maybe a side effect, and maybe that is what this 3rd season villain or this future presence is. So it's still connected to the Shadow King, but is somehow some sort of offspring.
Byproduct.
Byproduct, I think is the best description.
Interesting, maybe so. I'd be curious. I'll be curious to watch and find out.
Especially because some of these, some of the monologues from John Hamm are sometimes talking about sort of these side effects of
thoughts.
Yeah, and the intent, like the intention and sort of the reality of what sometimes happens out of that. So that's why that sort of like this attempt to fight Farouk somehow creates what?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I have an idea. So there's a really interesting scene between Farouk and Jermaine Clement's character.
Yeah, Oliver.
Where Oliver tells him he's going to kill him.
Yeah.
And like you tell, like Farouk's like, oh really? Like,
you think it's Jermaine? You think it's Oliver somehow?
No. I think that like we've been playing with the idea that just a thought plants a seed and grows into something more. That's what this whole season has been like hinting and playing with that idea that thoughts are things and become reality.
Right.
And like Oliver says to him, "I'm going to kill you," and he plants that seed. Yeah. And he plants that thought. Maybe he's figured this out. He's figured out how to plant a thought in Farouk's mind of how he's going to defeat him.
Yeah.
And that's going to fester and grow and allow him to defeat him.
That's pretty cool.
That would be cool. It would be a really hard story to tell.
But I mean, this is a show that has balls.
Not,
so.
Yeah, it has not. It has not.
It's not shied away from some pretty cool concepts. So let's move into Westworld. So Westworld, we got to see and hear the name of. We actually got to see two additional parks this episode. We opened up on the Raj, which is sort of like this British colonial / jungle fantasy of India, which that felt really weird to me. So like here's the thing. Westworld, I get, like, okay, like you even see in Westworld, there's a lot of quests that are like, oh, I can be a hero or I can be a villain.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was almost like, it was sort of implied that, like, if you're really fucked up, then you're going to do the really screwed up things. Like, there's the hidden side, not a hidden side of the park, but you can go into the brothels, you can go and do, like, terrible things. But if you just wanted to go to Westworld and do a standard quest to help this person in danger, this damsel in distress or whatever, it wasn't like everybody was raping and killing in Westworld. It's sort of now, because of the darkness of the show and because of the implications for the AI and sentience, they've emphasized that side. But, like, very early on, you see that there's other things to do in the park.
Right, there's kids there and stuff like that, yeah.
Right. Whereas, like, I have a hard time seeing activities in British, like, the idea of I want to go to British colonial India already seems exploitative to begin with.
Somebody's a little sensitive.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, it'd be weird to say, you know what? I want to feel like I'm a plantation owner in the deep south.
But what if it's because like the quest that they were talking about doing is like
the hunting,
the big game hunting, and stuff like that.
You don't need British colonial India for the jungle hunt quest.
No, you don't.
You can still have a Sherpa or your guide without having to be in British colonial.
You could also like look. The Wild Wild West wasn't exactly like
humane.
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's true.
So you're putting people in extreme settings to get extreme results.
Sure,
is basically what all of these theme parks are about.
That's true.
And the
that's
fantasy
true.
of that. It's
yeah.
Like role play, like fantasy role playing of like, okay, well, we're all a bunch of 30-something guys, like, and we have a house in Maryland, and like that. Okay, like that's not real. Like that doesn't scratch that itch. The idea is like you're going to something exotic, something crazy.
That's true. Yeah. No, I'll admit there's definitely a personal bias there.
Oh,
but
for sure.
It's just it just to me it's just like. Oh, like I can see the Wild West fantasy. I have
because you're not Native American.
Yeah, I was. You're right. Yeah, that is very fair. I will also say,
or black or Chinese.
I enjoyed hearing Seven Nation Army on a sitar.
Yes,
more than I thought I would. But I was a little disappointed they didn't go with bare necessities.
Oh, Addie. I'm thankful that they didn't.
But now I'm going to be looking forever for my sitar cover of Bare Necessities.
I'm sure it's out there if you look hard enough. I liked the change of the setting. Like it was off-putting, and it was like, oh, where the hell are we? Like, oh, right, there was the tiger. Because like they give you that little blurb right before the show starts.
Yeah,
of
and
like,
then on the tiger.
Oh, there's the dead tiger laying on the beach, and you're like, well, that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah. Once I sorted through my personal stuff, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like her on the run from from
How
the tiger.
How did you feel about her, like, and their like her little test about whether or not the guy was human?
Well, I think it was...
And only wanted to have sex with a human.
Yeah, well, I think it kind of added to the whole, like, this isn't a person you should like. I thought that was the whole point of it. Why? And also to quickly establish.
Actually, I did kind of like her for that.
Well, that's because you have some weird taste, like Cheryl from Archer. Yeah.
Have you guys been watching?
No.
Oh man, they almost ruined Cheryl for me. It was like this close. I was visibly upset.
Yeah, no, we saw in chat. Yeah. I just moved on. I was just like, not gonna engage.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. When it gets to a situation where I go, yeah, I don't want any part of that. No, I'm not even interested.
Which is like that sounds even extreme. Like that has to be pretty extreme, even by Archer standards.
Yeah, it was, and luckily they pulled it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was scary.
Maybe I need to get back on board.
Yeah.
This season's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's better than last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so I didn't feel it one way or another. Like everybody in this park, in these parks, has been like morally compromisable. You know what I mean? Like nobody's really the good guy. So I wasn't really expecting anything less out of another park, I guess.
Yeah, and we also got our introduction to Shogun World, but very brief.
Right at the end.
I'm really excited to see what that's like. Let's back up a little bit more in this episode, because one of the main through lines is we have Dolores with the Confederales, and then you have it looks like basically the first sort of incursion from like the park's forces to kind of like contain this revolt.
Yeah.
And wow, does that go sideways? I mean, it was impressively executed by Dolores.
I didn't understand the purpose of it, to be honest with you.
What do you mean?
Sacrificing those troops?
Oh, because it was a barrier. So because the moment those the park's troops engage with any of these guys, their weapons are so high powered that they don't have a chance.
Right.
But because they have now the basically these ex-Confederates as a wall for them to shoot through and to get to them, to slow them down and get them to the right place to blow them all up, it was.
But you could have achieved that just by falling back to the wall, behind the wall, and the troops would have moved forward and then gotten blown up.
Yeah, I think it's all. I think
it seemed like a lot to do.
Yeah.
For the same result to me, like the.
I don't know if you could have had the same control. Like from like these, like let's say looking at these guys as special forces guys, like can you guarantee, like let's say even 2 or 3 of these guys escape, like this explosion, there's still going to be a problem for them, right? Because of how
50 to 100, even just rifles against 3 guys with machine guns. The 3 guys are they'll kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But they're still going to die.
But I think she's still viewing it as her people, and she doesn't want to endanger her people.
I get that, but you still, like, I don't understand why you had to sacrifice the Confederales to lure them in, right? Is what you're saying. Is that you're luring them into the same spot. Yeah. But you're behind the wall, and you got to get through that wall no matter what. They have to come to that spot where she blew up no matter what.
I don't think she wants to blow up that wall. I thought she wanted
but that's what I'm saying. So you have the wall, and then you have, Dolores and her people are behind the wall.
Sure.
The Confederales are right here, and you're trying to get the bad guys right here in front of the wall. So because that's where you planted the bombs. So they're going to come to the wall no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, there's flaws. It worked for me in the moment. So
yeah. I remember just watching it and going, I don't understand why she's killing these soldiers.
I think the other but I think
than out of spite.
I think that's where I think the most important part is from a character perspective, because she has said that not all of
everybody's worthy for glory.
Right. And she doesn't view the Confederales as worthy. So I think ultimately that was the point of that, is her showing that, and I mentioned it sort of last week, is sort of the idea of now with sentience becomes the idea of morality.
Right.
The knowledge of good and evil creates good and evil as choices you can make. So like especially with the imagery of sort of like the mother and the child in the opening credits, it feels like this is idea of giving birth to a new creation is what new people is sort of this idea that they're playing with the what each of these characters, which each of these hosts or guests, hosts are doing now that they have sentience. So, and even playing with it, when I thought a cool moment was with, this is off a little bit of a tangent, but with Hector and Maeve, when the writer, he's shocked that they've now found love for each other and they weren't supposed to, but even in his programming, Hector's programming, he still has the same language he used for the other woman that he loves. So this, all these ideas of destiny and choice and all of that are still at play. So now I think it's Dolores going on this really dark path, sort of, to as she establishes her own people and what that means with other hosts versus the guests versus who all the people are, because it seems like Bernard has made some sort of choice to to basically kill a lot of these hosts. At least that's what was heavily implied from the end of that one episode.
Yeah.
So maybe Dolores makes some choices, and Bernard, this is like we're seeing why Bernard did what he did to get to that point.
Justified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, outside of that, I'm, obviously they weren't going to reveal it.
It's almost like, as you were saying, giving that theory, it's almost like they went in a reverse moral code as far as like what Planet of the Apes did with Koba.
Yes.
And maybe they're just reversing that idea.
I think so. Yeah. So, so that is it for today's episode. Apes Together Strong. Don't forget to check out all of our podcasts, certainpov.com. All of our shows are there. Ben's on Twitch there. We're having all sorts of fun between all of our shows. All of our social media is there if you want to keep up with us. Again, certainpov.com. And until next time, stay scruffy, my nerf herders.